Rogue have had their moments. They were definitely one of the other teams that would have rather have had a better split than they did. But V1 were completely at the bottom of the pile when it comes to worst splits compared to what were expected pre-season. They just beat Space Station Gaming though, in style, in the first day of this regional event. So they're definitely peaking at the right time. That being said, it was just those two results. So, you know, you can't really say all that much about them yet.
Yeah, we were very happy with what we saw last time out from them, but whether or not they can replicate that yet again is yet to be seen. Version1 getting to here, obviously, of a 3-0 victory over Continuo and a 3-2 victory over Space Station Gaming. Over Rogue, they had to play once last week, and that was against Xset, both teams taking the Sunday off. As we are into the all-important first game. Whoever loses this, playing again later on today, and that's not going to be a fun situation to find yourself in. And First Killer one-on-one against him is never a fun situation to find yourself in either.
Yeah, Com did well, though, just faking a couple of challenges. That kept First Killer back, and also, you know, playing a 50-50 would have been risky, so I like that he decided not to do that.
First Killer is going to be one of the players that you would expect to see on the ball more often than not in this Rogue roster. And a missed touch there from Com. Gonna be dropped down over to First Killer, looking for the first shot on target. That's not going to be it. And definitely a let-off for Rogue from that play. For Version1, I should say. But they'll be going to try and clean that up future. As here comes Torrentoro, doesn't get there. First Killer is at an awkward angle. He's taken away from Toroko as well. And it's a calamitous start here.
Yeah, that was a great center ball from Toroko. Somebody should be there. You know, the two Rogue players supporting him were both behind him. We didn't have anybody on the far side. This is a problem Rogue have had, even when Chronovia is on the roster. They tend to get bunched up and not really use the far post approach all that often. And, you know, it causes some of their center balls, quite a lot of their center balls, to just go across uncontested.
Version1 have spent an awful lot of the opening half of this game stuck in their own side of the field, but they haven't conceded from it just yet. And this is one player who I'm very curious to see what we get this week. Torment has really shown what he was capable of last week. Whether or not he's going to get the time and space to show what he's able to do this week will be up for debate, but that is a monstrous demo from Gimmick. And that's the second one from him. Good play here, and now Com can break away to the other side of the field. It's a good challenge by the goalkeeper, but Gimmick showing his teeth there.
Yeah, that's the Gimmick of old. The Gimmick who everybody hates to play against. He, you know, in his prime, was the best disruptor in the world. There was no player who was better at messing up the other team than Gimmick, and he still got it. It's just been a while since we've seen that from V1.
Still no goals to see here. First Killer looks to add the first one, as Gimmick will keep it out. Sure, the chances so far, obviously over to Rogue, but we've also seen this from them numerous times before, where they get a lot of pressure and are unable to score off it. All goes downhill for them later on in the game. They'll want to avoid that this time around. First Killer is certainly helping out with that at the moment. Now Torrentoro, one-on-one against Torment. Torment does keep it up, but it's hit straight into Com, who will recover it just in time. Fantastic awareness from Com.
Yeah, well, the pass down was extremely risky. I mean, for Com to be there in the first place was pretty risky, but he did an own goal, so well played to him. As long as you can get away with the ball there, it's a huge advantage for your team. Oh, and a chance there for Torment, but Torrentoro got it away from the near post.
I think at that point, they're just sort of questioning it. It's sort of the questioning how good you are at ones. Oh, you're a ones player, are you? Well, catch this. Just launch it directly at him.
Try not to own goal this one. Good luck.
Well, he passed. Certainly came out that one A-OK. First Killer again. Same passing angle as we got in a previous attempt. Still no goal for it. And Rogue will be very frustrated if they don't take game one.
Indeed they will. The other thing to remember is V1 came from behind 2-1 in games to beat Space Station Gaming. That's not the best clear by Gimmick, but First Killer's shot is not going to be too dangerous. Likewise, Toroko denied by Torment. Rogue with the better chances in game one, but none of them have been all that effective.
And we're still waiting for a shot from V1. Nothing registered by the game just yet. And we've only got 30 seconds left to play in regulation time. Tom going to take his time this time around as Torment takes over. First Killer, again looking for the setup. It's an awkward angle for Toroko, but he's made it very difficult for everyone except for Torment, who knew exactly where that was supposed to go. Ticking down the clock here in the final few moments of our first game. And if this continues as it is, we're going to go to overtime.
Impressive defense at times from V1. Extremely calm there on the back wall. Torment guiding the ball to safety in a position where both of his teammates were out of the game. And that is the kind of composure they've needed to keep this Rogue team at bay, who have been constantly attacking all game. Now comes the reset and a chance for V1 to put their first shot on target. That's what we're still waiting for.
Taroko has got it to Turinturo. Com knowing better than to challenge. That is a lot of fake challenges coming out from V1 so far, and they are working an awful lot, getting Rogue to show their hand. And now Taroko one-on-one against Com. And you don't want to be hit, Taroko, but he has managed to make just enough contact to keep the ball out of his net.
Taroko just getting the perfect challenge there. He didn't go too high over the ball so to leave the 50-50 open. But he also had a lot of flicking angles covered. That was brilliant defense. Taroko now for the win and will secure the goal 51 seconds into overtime. Great defense, great offense. What a game one performance that is.
And for the amount of offensive pressure that they had, it was a counter-attack that gave Rogue their glorious opportunity to take this game. An interesting performance here, Johnny, from both teams. But from Rogue, they'll be much happier with this. One goal against them, and that was held out by Taroko for them in the 1v1 up against Com. So they'll be very happy. This looks like something that they can replicate moving forward. As for V1, yes, good defense, but we have to keep going back to that stat. One shot on target in 5+ minutes of gameplay. It's never going to cut it.
Yeah, it's a really weird game. I mean, if I had to guess how many shots V1 had, just based on the possession and based on how fast they were playing, you'd expect that they would get more than that. I don't think that strategically they're doing anything wrong per se. This game just didn't really work out too well for them, and Rogue played exceptionally well at the midfield. If V1 can try to get those one-on-one positions like what we saw at the end there from Com, I think the goals will come, because that was probably the best chance of the game other than the one goal that won it in overtime.
There's an awful lot there that we can shower with praise in the form of Rogue. Do love the passing plays they were using to get out of their own side of the field. First killer, as always, as awkward to take that ball off as usual. His transition game, just like he is doing right here, so solid. So good at getting your team out of a tough situation. He's going to be Com with his opportunity. Does well. He's actually going to be able to bring Torment into this play. Gimmick will be waiting for the backboard, but Torment unable to win the race against First Killer. First Killer will just tap the ball onwards, see if Torment wants to provide the mistake. It's actually going to leave an open ball. Infield pass to First Killer, and Com was always on top of that play. Over to Gimmick one more time. Looks for the far corner. And Taroko had it covered. Don't think it was on target anyway, but he'll make sure of it. Wait,
that's just on target. What?
Where on earth has the defense gone?
Yeah, that was a bit casual there from Com.
Oh, he's missed the boost.
Yeah, he missed the boost, but, you know, the turnaround was a bit hesitant as well. Maybe he thought the third man was rotating in behind him a bit more quickly, but there is no forgiving a play like that. That was just it's something that happens to almost every Rocket League player in the world. You do just suddenly sometimes drive around those boosts, and then you're out of position. It's not forgivable at this level. You can't be making those mistakes.
Especially not when it doesn't look like your team's really got out the starting blocks just yet. They have obviously been trying, but Rogue have just been holding them back this entire time. It's been very difficult for them to even see what the blue side of the field even looks like. A shot on target. That is well scored by Turinturo. Ducking and weaving through every defender.
Yeah, brilliant touch there. Turinturo's recovery was really slick, much faster than V1 were expecting, and Gimmick not ready for that shot to come across the box. He was just repositioning in net, and then all of a sudden the shot was already on the line. If he just sat where he was, he probably would have saved this, but nobody expected that insanely fast recovery from Turinturo.
Well, we can talk about how good the defense was last game. This one, it's certainly been lacking. And these are the mistakes that did not happen in game number one. Taroko has missed it himself, though. And First Killer has somehow managed to keep it out. And now he's breaking away to the other side of the field. He's out of boost. Will it matter? Over to Taroko. And he nails it top corner.
Oh my goodness, I love that from First Killer. No other option except the wave dash shot, and Gimmick's save, unfortunately for V1, didn't go anywhere. It just sat in the box. Turinturo with the perfect placement makes it 3-0. But, you know, before that, on the halfway line, we had two V1 players colliding. Their organization has deteriorated drastically in this second game.
You've got to be able to do it week to week. As good as V1 were last week, we are not seeing it here today. We need to get this figured out, because if results stay as they currently are, First Killer would look to add to that. And this won't be the only time they play today. And this is not how they would want to look over in that lower bracket. Torment moves for the backboard. He isn't going to be able to get there in time. And 0 boost for Taroko. He's just trying to show his hand a little bit. Maybe say, hey, I can go for this. I've got boost. Clearly, obviously doesn't. He does get himself in front of that shot, however, and Gimmick knowing, hey, that left-hand side very much covered by blue cars. Can't afford to go over there, so instead moves it over to the wall. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in game number 2, and it is a very calm affair if you are a Rogue fan, and I'm sure they're not very used to too many of those.
Yeah, the speed of Rogue's definitely kicked in this second game. That's been the difference in how Rogue have played compared to the first game this series. V1 struggling to keep up with them at times. But it's an opportunity. Calm looking for the bump, but First Killer. Oh, the ball's hit the bar!
Oh, what's it gonna take?
Oh, it was a good try there. That was perfectly executed on the demo, but the shot needed to be on target.
And still nothing in the goals category for V1. Can they get something here? Gimmick wants to go for the infield passing option. He's gonna find it, and that shot's off target as well. Nothing settling here for V1. Rogue will eventually clear their lines. Just a minute and a half left here in the game. One more shot. It's off target. Torment arrives with a second shot a little bit too early. But V1 desperate to find something, anything to kickstart their series.
You know, it was always going to be hard to put 3 goals past a tough Rogue team like this. Rogue have really showed up today. So V1 might already know this game is pretty much over, but they're trying to get their offense going, and at least the one promising aspect that we are seeing right now is they're starting to connect with the passing plays. But look at the speed of First Killer once again, giving V1 problems, and that has been all Rogue have had to do. And I mean, I say it's all they've had to do. It's definitely not easy to play faster than the other team in a game where full speed is completely capped, but Rogue are just so quick with the recoveries and they're so efficient with their movement that V1 are getting consistently beaten to the ball.
And the other frustrating part here for V1 is that even when they do get a slight advantage in the speed game, and it has not been all that often, you have got players all across Rogue who are so capable of slowing the game down the moment they take one touch on the ball. And every single advantage that V1 have been gaining has been wiped away. Popped up to the air. First Killer just going to kill off the final few seconds here in game number 2. Still nothing here for V1. They are hurtling not only towards the lower bracket, but also towards being perfect swept.
And, you know, they can't be too upset at themselves, I would say. Rogue have been phenomenal so far. This is a really, really clean performance from them. Extremely confident, extremely quick, and extremely effective, whereas V1, yeah, the defense wasn't very organized in the first half of this game. They got it together in the second half, but the offense just didn't work out fully. They were starting to connect passes together, which is something I'd love to see more from V1 in the third game of this series. If they can start to keep the ball low, just get quick passes going, I think that's the best chance that they're going to have to score against Rogue. These, you know, slow aerial passes, the high lobs, any kind of air dribbling plays, I would be extremely surprised if those work out against Rogue, who are just so fast, and they're closing down all these slow-mo aerial plays like they're not even a bother at all.
Yeah, so far it has been a truly blinding performance by Rogue, and this is going to certainly open up a lot of people's eyes regarding them and the rest of this bracket. Winner of this one will be taking on either G2 or United over in the next round. But it's Turinturo. This shot trying to give them that advantage here in game 3.
Yeah, you have to expect that this little segment of the bracket does belong to G2. They have such a great record against Rogue historically, and Rogue are heavy favorites here. Who knows, maybe E United can play spoiler, but V1 don't look likely to do so. Needing a reverse sweep, and I did say that they came back from behind against Space Station earlier in the tournament. That was 2-1 though, not 2-0. And against the Space Station, didn't look like they were playing anywhere near their best. Rogue do.
Oh, that's going to drop down very nicely for Carmen's crossbar yet again. I don't know what to say. I can only say like consoling words at this moment in time. This has been horrid for V1 so far. Oh, there's going to be that. There we go.
Okay, there we go. That's, you know, a good little comeback after another crossbar denying them a shot. Good dunk there by Torment, and Gimmick slots in the open net, quickest on the scene. Now, I said that, you know, these slow aerial plays aren't going to work, but, you know, if they could play it dirty, there's maybe a chance for V1 to make those work. Because one thing they have done well at times this series is bump and demo. There have been, you know, both games, really big bumps, really big demos on the Rogue players. So, you know, if they can combine those, just go for the good old air dribble bump, then I think that's not only a good way to maybe get goals for themselves, but also to tilt this very young team that they're up against.
Well, it's one of those series as well, especially when you do look at a team like Rogue, where if this reverse sweep does begin to happen, the idea of who is favorite would switch very quickly. It'll be one of those moments where it's definitely going to be Rogue, and it's definitely going to be V1, but if First Killer keeps playing like this, then there's no argument about whether or not Rogue should move through.
Yeah, turn zero faster than Torment, First Killer faster than Gimmick. Once again, it is just a case of Rogue being quicker to the punch. And V1 are not picking their battles well. You know, if they're not going to accelerate quicker, if they're not going to start moving in faster for these challenges, then they might not want to go for them at all. If you're going to get beaten to the ball, or if you think you might get beaten to the ball, then you might as well fake a challenge, stay relevant in the play. Oh, that's a great save by Com, actually. But he's going to get faked by First Killer, who takes the lead for Rogue. Got to give credit to Com, though. Initially, that was quite an exquisite touch to almost get this under control.
Yeah, he got bumped into it, somehow managed to recover, but First Killer is so solid at knowing when you are not comfortable and when you don't really have full control over the play. And First Killer has been running rough shot here in this series off the backboard one more time. So what you want to see, though, First Killer playing like this, playing at this level, can be a threat to anybody. And this seems like something he could do for games on end without really worrying about it. Pass over to First Killer one more time. Torment forced to jump over to Taroko. Pass was behind him, though. Half the game gone here. V1 are the team that need to find all the answers. Com looks to provide at least one of them off the backboard to Torment, and that shot is far, far too lackluster to really bother Rogue at all. In fact, it's given them a way out.
Yeah, proper wet blanket of a shot there from Torment. Unfortunate for V1 as they're not going to get too many opportunities, you would think, late on into this game. I think the solution, perhaps the strategy for V1 to employ against Rogue is to imagine that you're playing with a 100 ping disadvantage. If you look like you're getting a 50-50, you're probably getting beaten to the ball. If it looks like you're beating Rogue to the ball, you're probably getting a 50-50. If they just operate with those circumstances in mind, then they might have some more success against Rogue. You know, you're not going to get beaten. My point is, if you're going to get beaten to the ball, you might as well just fake challenges instead of diving out the game.
Well, that's what they were doing an awful lot in Game 1 as well, and they abandoned that strategy. Like maybe they just didn't like what they were getting out of Game 1, decided to adapt to it, and that adaptation has not worked so far this series. Torment does have Com in the midfield, but Com was already on his way back, realizing the player was probably gone. We're not going to get too many more chances of this. First Killer leaves it for Torrentoro, who will find his challenge. Ball bounces into the midfield. It's a shot, and it's in!
Well played.
Rogue are not to be denied here in this series, and V1 have simply not been able to keep up.
It's just clinical, isn't it? Every single chance that Rogue are getting, they are slamming them on net with confidence. And you compare that to what V1 have taken, or for what V1 have done earlier in this game. Just not effective at all. Com hitting the bar at 0-0. Torment hitting the bar on an uncontested aerial play. That's been the difference in Game 3. And maybe the damage has already been done. Rogue played such a solid Game 1 and 2 here. The V1's confidence is definitely taking a blow.
Just seems like they're in two different classes right now, doesn't it? That is just how good, and that is not a slight against V1 either. We've seen just how good they can be with this roster, but Rogue have dismantled them in this series, and it has been very impressive to see from a roster that we wanted to see that little bit more from in this split. No fear for any challenge, jumping in for everything, winning just as many of them as well. It's been a very, very nice tournament so far for Rogue as we head into the last 20 seconds here. Just trying to add to that tally if they can. And we are going to see any comeback from V1. They needed to score from a player go. Here comes first killer. He takes his time. He sets himself up. It's off the backboard. Taroko wants to take the chance, but there will be nothing there for him. But the team simply does not need it. It is going to be V1 dropping down to the lower bracket. They at least get themselves the goal. They avoid the perfect sweep. But Rogue, on a different level here, move to win the semifinals.
Yeah, extremely impressive by Rogue. This is, you know, what people have been waiting to see from a team with such star quality on the lineup. Full team star performance, really. This wasn't the case of first killer carrying the team as it sometimes is. The whole squad showed up and V1 weren't able to hang with them. Now, I still believe V1 have a good chance down here. KCP have not looked anywhere near as hot as they did at the end of the last split. And, you know, they got swept by Pittsburgh Knights to even be in that lower bracket in the first place. But, yeah, V1 will need to play better than they just did if they're going to beat KCP.
I think both teams down in that lower bracket, KCP and V1, will be looking at each other and thinking, it could have been worse for us. So I think both teams will be reasonably happy with that matchup. As for Rogue, this form right now, they will be setting their standards very high as to what they expect to get out of this. They move on to tomorrow's Championship Sunday. But when we come back, we need to find out who they're going to be playing against as we get G2 against E United.